Hi, everyone. Just waiting to see if people come this week. Today, we are going to be talking about the new moon in Aries. It's a doozy, so there's a lot to cover, but hopefully, the Aries energy allows me to speak really quickly and efficiently. Just gonna wait a moment while people pile in. All right. Welcome, welcome. We are talking about the new moon in Aries. All right. I'm just gonna go ahead and get started because there's so much to talk about, so much to cover, and um, I don't wanna waste any time. Let me see if I can get this at a good volume. There we go. Alright. So, the new moon in Aries is occurring tomorrow morning, April 17th, 2026 at 8:11 Pacific Standard Time. Actually, I think it's 8:51 Pacific Standard Time in the morning. Um, So, what we're gonna do is I've pulled 3 cards to talk about the new moon in Aries, but we're gonna do that at the end. Right now, I'm just gonna talk to you about how some of this energy feels and how to work with it. So, I'm sure you're noticing, even I, as I was setting this up today, was so frantic. I kind of felt um, discombobulated, but like I was getting everything done in the way that it needed to get done. So, it was one of those, like, pulling something out of the oven while I'm, like, pouring something in something else, taking care of my dog, setting up all the cameras. It was, Aries in that it was very, very quick, but it was done confidently, and it was for the sake of putting myself out there and doing something emboldened and performative in a way. So, you want to utilize the energy of Aries by instilling in yourself a sort of confidence that might feel fake to you, but is the real you somewhere in there, right? So, with the new moon in Aries, we have not only that happening, but we have 7 planets in Aries right now. We also have a conjunction with Neptune and Saturn happening on Saturday that's really cuckoo bananas. But for your focus for the new moon, what I think is that you want to focus on working through your Chiron or your inner wound in order to manifest for the new moon in Aries. So, the reason I say that is because Aries has sort of an inflated ego. Every sign has developed qualities and undeveloped qualities, which is to say, if you are an Aries that has not really done any introspection or work on yourself, you might be petty and arrogant. But if you are an Aries that has done a lot of work on yourself, you're probably a trailblazer and really generous. It's like that with every sign. And it's also like that when you're doing any ritual around any new moon or full moon. So, when we're working with new moon energy, we're thinking about planting seeds, we're thinking about manifesting, we're thinking about ushering in. And when we're talking about Aries, we're talking about the first sign of the zodiac, the most important part of the story, right? The exposition of the story. This is the month in which every year we're presented with the story that we're going to be working with over the next 12 months. So when we have a new moon in Aries, we want to set a specific and bold intention around something that we want to manifest. Now, Chiron is also hanging out in Aries, and Chiron is the wounded healer. It is a deep seated wound that it often looks like abandonment, shame, guilt, but it is an asteroid that we observe in astrology that is meant to be worked with in your life to heal and to sort of move through. So, depending on where Chiron is in your natal chart, there's some kind of wound that in this lifetime you are meant to sort of reopen, clean, and stitch up and allow to heal again and again and again. So, um, the reason I think that it's best to work through your Chiron wound in order to manifest what you want for this new moon in Aries is because unless you confront the guilt or the shame, specifically the shame you might feel around being seen or being taken in and perceived by the crowd that you perhaps dream of having. In order to do that, you kind of actually have to open yourself up to getting the ridicule and feeling the shame that you're already afraid of. And my thinking around it is if you're already afraid of it, like if you're going to feel kind of crappy regardless, then you might as well take the risk. You might as well do the thing that feels good to you and that aligns with what you actually want. So the way that we work through a wound in order to manifest is by affirming things that counter that wound. For example, if you are afraid of putting yourself out there because it means you'll be seen by a lot of people, you counter that by saying, that you're capable. I am capable of being seen. I have nothing to be afraid of. My message is needed by other people. You kind of put an Aries like ego on it to make it work for yourself. So you take the wound, add an Aries spin, and that's how you're going to come up with your affirmations or the thing that you want to be specific about. Now, for the new moon in Aries, you do, considering it's such a concentration in that house, especially if that house is one that you have a strong desire around, without question, this is the new moon in your lifetime to uh, work with it and to ask for it. I also think that this is an excellent new moon under which to charge your crystals. I don't usually, that's usually kind of like higher on the woo scale than I participate in. But I do think it's kind of undeniable that tonight you should put your crystals and stuff under the light because they will be so charged with so much energy. And crystals definitely do magnify the power of intentions and of your altar, especially if you're taking care of them and keeping them clean. I have right here my crystals in my abundance bowl. I have rose quartz, sandstone, and clear quartz because clear quartz, I think actually also clear quartz is associated with Aries, but clear quartz always magnifies the properties of other crystals. You like how I'm like, that's really too woo for me. And then I continue to tell you every single thing about keeping crystals at home. So definitely charge your crystals. I think it's a great night to make an abundance bowl. But in terms of the rituals for the new moon in Aries, I do want you to do some kind of fire ritual. So we're going to focus on the house that Aries is in. If you are an Aries rising, let's start with that. It's in your first house of self expression and identity. So for you, that idea of being afraid to be seen is probably a good thing to focus on because especially if you're an Aries rising, you definitely have something to share with the world, something to pioneer, a blaze, a trail to blaze. And so you would do something like write down, in fact, a great thing for an Aries rising would be to ward your name or protect your name. I also think that is a great thing for everyone to do as a ritual, which basically you take a piece of paper and you write your name in the center of it. And then around your name, you will write down the things that you want to bring to yourself. And then you fold that paper towards you, always towards you for a new moon, especially because you are bringing in. You fold that paper towards you. And then you take a red, preferably candle, or white is always safe. Take a red candle, light it, and you can seal that piece of paper together. And then you let the candle burn down. You can let it burn down on the paper if you're watching it and you're being very safe about it. Obviously, put this in a fire safe container to do the ritual at all. You can also do it in a jar. So you can drop some wax, plant the candle, and then once the candle has burned down, what you want to do is burn the piece of paper that has your intentions. Now, this isn't just a thing where you kind of like gather this stuff and then just like throw it, in your jar, in your bowl. Aries, you want to be really specific because whatever you decide to manifest, you really have the power to bring in. So the Aries energy, especially with 7 planets there, is going to make you think that there's a rush. But remember, this is a 6-month goal that we're manifesting with the new moon in Aries. It's an initiation of the rest of your life. But in terms of this specific goal, you just have to whittle it down to the next 6 months. So take your time meditating, take your time to clean the space in which you're performing your ritual. Take your time, make it beautiful. If you're excited about it, that energy goes into the ritual. And that's really, really important for the sake of manifesting because the universe already knows what you want. And sometimes the pressure will build around, like, okay, well, I better ask for this today. Well, look back at the way that you've manifested before, right? Perhaps you haven't gotten exactly what you wanted, but you've probably gotten exactly what you needed, and it's all leading to exactly what you want. It's not up to you to decide how all of that stuff comes to you. It's up to you tomorrow morning or tonight to boldly say, I deserve this, and I don't really care how I get it without, of course, harming anybody else. So Aries rising, you're going to be focusing on rituals around your first house. Pisces rising, you will be focusing on rituals around your second house of money, assets, and property. So, any wounding that you have around what you own or what you would like to own, put an Aries spin on that. Put an Aries spin on that to make it about what you are going to bring into your life materialistically or in terms of actual possessions. This might be a great time to start looking at houses and properties or to start getting the information that you need to move into a new space, or even to like acquire something. A new space is more 4th house. So, 3rd house, Aquarius rising, you want to focus on your community. Any shame that you have had around your community, any shame that you've had in being accepted by your community, you want to put an Aries spin on that and think about how you're boldly going to be yourself no matter what, embracing all of the cringe and all of the aspects that make you who you are, because in doing that, you find your community. So you're manifesting by community by confronting your shame around community and calling in community. Capricorn rising, this is in your 4th house of homes and foundations. So this is also ancestry, where you come from. So any shame that you have, any wounding that you have around, maybe you don't know exactly where you come from. Maybe you don't really have any traditions or rituals that you feel anchored in and therefore have had to do a lot to discover your own foundation or to build your own foundation. This can also be about the literal home. So if you're looking to move, now is a great time to start planting those seeds of intention. 5th house is for Sagittarius rising. Sagittarius, this is in your 5th house of creativity, children, and dating. So um, this is one of the houses I think that feels like it has a little more pressure on it. This and 2nd house, 7th house, and I think 11th house are the ones that I feel are a little crunchy. But for Sag risings, you guys want to focus on, progeny of some kind. So it doesn't have to be literally having kids, but there might be a creative project that you're ready to put into the world. Maybe you're denying the world your story because you don't really feel like it's worth telling or like it's that special. That's where the wound is, but it is special and we do want to hear it. So go forth and conquer. Scorpio risings, this is in your 6th house of daily routine. So you're going to focus on, you are also Mars ruled. So this Scorpio risings and Aries risings, you guys are like just a pile of kindling. So you're probably really, really feeling it. And in your 6th house of daily routine and pets, you may feel wounding around like maybe a daily routine is really hard for you to nail down or you feel sort of confined by a daily routine. And especially as a Scorpio rising, there's some element of mystery that's really important. Like you don't really want all your business out there, but with a new moon in Aries, we kind of need all your business out there. So not all your business, but a lot of it, and it will bring you business. So you want to focus on boldly changing your daily routine, committing to a the routine of the person that you want to be is what you want to do for this new moon and figuring out how to manifest that. Libra risings. This is in your seventh house of love, of long term love, partnerships, business partnerships. It's also the house of hidden enemies. So with a Libra rising, oh, also, I wanted to say this before. Something that is notable about all of these is that with an Aries placement like this, every um, rising sign is also kind of getting the amplified energy of, oh, my light died. That's okay. Is getting the amplified energy of Aries being, because Aries is in the first house, or because Aries rising is activated right now, every house is kind of like pulsing with life right now. So, um, Libra in the seventh house, Libra rising, this already is the house that you rule, and therefore you have added power to it. So, Libra risings in the seventh house of partnership and love, you want to focus on what your shame is in that house around partnership and what you think you actually deserve. And then you want to boldly make a plan to pursue long-term partnership. This could also be a lot of shakeups in long-term partnerships. We're going to see a lot of divorces, a lot of people just saying, like, you know what, I can't do this anymore. And you just have to trust that the process is always correct that way. Okay, so then we have eighth house. Oh, wait. No, wait. Eighth house is Scorpio rising, right? Wait, I messed something up. Hold on, hold on. My notes, if you see this post-it note, look, it's really truly no wonder that I can't understand it. But yeah, that's right. That's right. Scorpio, sixth house. Why did I write this down twice? Hold on. Hold, please. Hold, please. I can't believe that light died also. I've been charging it forever. Okay, let's see. What did I write down? Virgo rising. Oh, I think I just wrote that down twice. Okay, so Virgo rising. This is in your eighth house of um, death, taxes, which is important for this season. Death, taxes, and also spirituality in a way, kind of like shadow work spirituality is the focus of the eighth house versus like ninth house is kind of philosophy and 12th house is karmic. Eighth house is more like, oh, I got to get under there and explore this thing. So, what is your shame around your ability to? There might be shame around debt. There might be shame around your inability to plan for things long term. So, you want to manifest something long term for yourself that makes you feel good about what you're doing for the new moon and is a good 6-month plan. Okay. So, then Leo rising, this is in your ninth house of long distance travel, philosophy, um, higher education. So you might have a plan. You might have some shame around how educated you are. You might have some like strange stigmas around how educated people need to be. And with this wound, you want to work with it by sort of being willing to be wrong about things and being willing to explore things that you were not previously familiar with. So the way that you do that is you might sign up for a class that makes you feel a little bit uncomfortable. You might take a trip somewhere that makes you feel a little intimidated. You just want to work with this energy to educate yourself, to expand your horizons, and to see potentially what is waiting for you in countries that are not your own. So then um let's see, Cancer rising. This is in your 10th house of career and vocation. Now, Cancer, Aries energy can be a little a little tough for y'all, even though you're both cardinal, it can just feel a little bit like, "Oh my god, why does everybody you need this right now?" Like, "Oh, why can't I take my time?" But you can, and it's important that you do. But Cancer, it's also really important that in your career, you're doing something that you love and that makes sense to you, and that helps you nurture other people. So you wanna work around the shame of what you do for a living and figure out a 6-month plan that you can boldly pursue that allows you to kind of, be proud of what people are saying. You know, like if you overheard someone saying at a party, "Oh, they do this," like that it's something that you would feel good about them saying, you know? So definitely want to see if your money and morals are lining up with each other. All right. So Gemini rising, this is in your 11th house of long-term desires, networking, and friendships. So what you will probably experience is some shame around there might be a pain point around like losing friends or a real shift in those friendships. But with an Aries new moon, you have to examine your own role in something. And that can be where the rub is between the Chiron and the Aries aspect of this. But you want to make sure that you're manifesting something into your life that feels aligned with what you've actually always wanted to do. And if it's not something that you've always wanted to do, you have to take action to make it what you've always wanted. All right. And then finally, we have Taurus rising. So this is in your 12th house of the subconscious, past lives, and um, also spirituality. But with the Taurus rising, the wound around that is like it's probably something that just it's like you in this lifetime you just feel it's like you don't necessarily know what you feel bad about all the time, but you feel bad about something. And so it could be something that you've ushered in from a past life. It could also be your relationship to spirituality. You might just kind of feel like, you know, that it's kind of neither here nor there. Like you don't really have a relationship to the divine. So this is kind of a difficult like concept to manifest around, but find the wound that is around like your relationship to the divine and then manifest a better experience. Manifest believing the signs that you receive. Manifest receiving signs in the first place. Okay. So that is those are like kind of the brief not horoscopes but brief like synopses of what you should do according to your rising sign. So now we're just going to talk through these cards. And the three cards that I pulled are the Four of Wands, Death reversed, and Four of Pentacles reversed. So, Four of Wands, this generally is like it can be a contract or marriage, but it's really just an important milestone. So, over the next 6 months, it feels that what you're supposed to be manifesting is something that would make you feel accomplished. It's something that you have thought about for a long time. And again, kind of like what I was saying to Cancer risings, like you will be proud. You want to create something that you're proud of overhearing someone describe to someone else, right? Like when I hear or see somebody like talking about my business or introducing me, depending on how they're talking about it, it feels so good. And I also it in turn gives me the opportunity in a sort of an Aries way to be like, oh yeah, like I did that. I'm doing that, you know? So the Four of Wands is important milestones. It's also foundations. And the way that I was feeling about it when I pulled the card was like, it feels that it is right now what's happening is everything is burning down literally. And the reason, the way that a lot of the wildfires in California spread is because in the year previous to these last wildfires or maybe a couple years before, some of the budgeting got cut for indigenous I don't know exactly what they call it, but basically it's was indigenous people helping to like do controlled burns so that wildfires wouldn't break out because it was ancient wisdom and is ancient wisdom that you are supposed to do that. And obviously, the best people to um, kind of be the like harbingers of that truth and those practices are indigenous people. And so with the Four of Wands, this does feel also like we're burning soil to make it more fertile so that we can plant things in it. And with all of this Aries energy, it's probably going to feel like, depending on where it's falling for you, like there's some kind of abrupt it just goes up in flames, just poof, it's gone, and then you have to shift the way that you feel about something. And so this Four of Wands is saying, don't worry, like you are making it more fertile. And also on a literal, from a literal perspective, I think this is also about um a contract coming through for someone. So if you have been kind of in limbo with some kind of contract, I would take comfort in knowing that it's probably going to come through for you. Four of Wands is also about marriage. So if you are someone that's trying to manifest marriage into your life, that's definitely strongly encouraged. And Wands are fire signs. So it would be good to go to things that light you up, and you might find your right partner there. The next card we have is Death Reversed. So this card is sort of a resistance to change. It's when your ego is too involved. So when death is reversed, and especially paired with the new moon, it's saying like you got to get over yourself and you have to manifest. And you have to, in order to manifest, you actually have to believe that you can do it. And if you believe that you can do it, you are going to do the work towards accomplishing it. But this is very like, get over yourself. You're just going to die soon. Like, you might as well do what you want and put yourself out there and pursue, especially creatively, what it is that you want. And if you have no idea how it's going to form and what it really even looks like, just, you don't have to know. Just do it. Just let the thing dictate its own form back to you. Don't try to squeeze it into anything. Let your audience tell you the form it's going to take. Let the reaction to what you put out inform you. But if you're not putting anything out, including, you should be putting terrible stuff out all the time too, because unless you do, you won't know what people do not want to hear. And that's really, really important information. So with death reversed, it's definitely sort of a purging that you're doing. You're probably clearing closets out. You're cutting off relationships that don't work for you anymore. You might be telling people off that aren't understanding that you're done with them. And it's also to preserve your energy, which leads me to the final card, which is Four of Pentacles reversed. Now, Four of Pentacles reversed is about holding on to beliefs that no longer serve you. It's kind of like, it can be kind of hoarding mentality, or not being practical with money, also, as in not spending your money well, not using your resources in an efficient way. And that can really catch up with you. So you definitely want to pay attention to what how you're spending your resources, which resources make you feel the most fulfilled, and which are born of good intentions and which are just because you feel like you should get a rollie because everybody has a rollie. You can want a rollie, but like, um, is are your materialistic fixations standing in the way of you actually providing service and doing what it is that you want? Something that is a concept that I've really been talking a lot about and thinking a lot about is this idea that when people criticize you for standing up for, say, Palestine, it is strange because it dictates that they are more afraid of things on earth than they are of, and afraid is not even the right word, but that they have more reverence for humans and things on earth than they do sort of like our collective divine power and divinity in general. And so I think that with this spread and with this energy of the new moon in Aries, especially with Four of Pentacles reversed, it's like you got to put yourself out there because your faith has to be stronger than your fear. And Four of Pentacles reversed is a little bit of a scarcity mindset. It's a little bit of like, okay, I just made all this money, but now like I have to hold on to it. And it's like, well, yes, you need to learn how to you need to learn how to treat it with respect, and you need to learn where to put it. But it's not useful to have fear around pursuing something, because you're either afraid of not pursuing it or you're afraid to pursue it. So it's so much better to be afraid and doing it than it is to have regrets. And with Aries, this much Aries energy, regrets not really on the table. So with these three cards together and with the new moon energy, I think the lesson for all of us is to really believe that the thing that you have come up with in your head and in your imagination for yourself is there because you are actually supposed to pursue that and supposed to do that, and to let go of old beliefs. Obviously, we are in real time watching the world change, and there's and I don't mean like everybody start using AI, but I do mean be adaptable, learn new technologies, learn new modalities, get on new apps, get involved with people, see what they're up to. Um, Aries is also, because it's the first sign of the zodiac, it's about like getting out. It's also very, very much about exercise. So getting into community, moving your body, just being alive, right? Not staring at, as I'm staring at like 7 million screens, but it's not, life is not for sitting inside and staring at screens all day. So this new moon in Aries really wants you to remember that and to pursue what it is that you want with passion and with bravery and with like fuck you confidence. Okay. So that is what I have for you today. Thanks for hanging with me through that little post-it note hiccup. I will edit that and post it for all to see on YouTube. But definitely do your ritual, word your name, light your candle, seal it, burn that. And then with the ashes, you can put them in a plant, you can put them in moving water. It doesn't really matter. You can't really do anything wrong. You can't do it incorrectly. The wrong thing would be to not do anything at all with this new moon. And I don't tend to tell y'all, oh, you have to work with all this. I kind of think it's just a like 24/7 sort of, you're just always working. But tonight you should work with the moon, or tomorrow, even Saturday, the energy of it will still be really strong. But don't miss out on this opportunity. And I know that it's you know really rough out there, but above all, just do your best.